Hey, gun enthusiasts! Welcome back to Survival Gear Showcase, where we dive deep into the world of guns, ammo, and all things self-defense. Today we're talking about a revolver that's more than just a pretty face. It's a tank with trigger discipline. I'm talking about the Ruger GP100, a beast of a handgun that's built to last and perform under pressure. If you're into rugged, reliable firearms, that don't quit, this one's for you. And, hey, if you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Survival Gear Showcase for more in-depth reviews and insights. So let's kick things off by getting to know the GP100 a bit better. This revolver isn't just another six-shooter, it's a testament to Ruger's commitment to durability and innovation. Did you know that the GP100 has roots tracing back to a French police sidearm? Yeah, it's got some international flair in its DNA. But more on that later. For now, let's focus on what makes this gun stand out in a crowded field of revolvers. Ruger has always been known for building sturdy firearms, and the GP100 is no exception. In fact, it's often described as a tank disguised as a handgun. That's not just hyperbole. This thing is built to take a beating and keep on shooting. The GP100's frame is thicker and heavier than many of its competitors, which might not win it any beauty contests, but it sure as heck makes it reliable. And let's be honest, when you're in a situation where your life depends on your firearm, reliability trumps aesthetics every time. Now let's talk about the history behind this beast. Ruger first made a name for itself with single-action revolvers, but in 1972, they decided to step into the law enforcement arena with the Security 6. This was Ruger's first double-action revolver, and it was a game-changer. It was simple, durable, and more affordable than the competition, which at the time included heavy hitters like the Smith & Wesson Model 19, Model 66, and the legendary Colt Python. The Security 6 quickly gained a reputation for being a reliable workhorse, and it even found its way into the hands of agencies like the U.S. Border Patrol. But Ruger wasn't content to rest on their laurels. They knew that the Security 6, while solid, wasn't built to handle a steady diet of hot .357 Magnum loads. So in the early 1980s, they set out to create a revolver that could eat .357 Magnum rounds for breakfast without breaking a sweat. The result, the GP100, introduced around 1985. The GP100 took everything that made the Security 6 great and cranked it up to 11. The frame was thickened, the top strap was beefed up, and the cylinder was designed to lock in 3 places instead of just 1 or 2. This triple locking cylinder is a big deal, folks. It ensures that the cylinder stays perfectly aligned even when you're firing those powerful .357 Magnum rounds. And let me tell you, that makes a world of difference in terms of accuracy and longevity. But wait, there's more. The GP100 also features an underlug that's not just for show. It helps balance the revolver and tames recoil, making it easier to handle, especially during rapid fire. And if you're worried about safety, Ruger has you covered with their transfer bar safety mechanism. This nifty little feature ensures that the hammer can't strike the firing pin unless the trigger is pulled, which is a lifesaver for those who carry with the hammer down on a loaded chamber. Now let's circle back to that French connection I mentioned earlier. During the late 1970s, French law enforcement was in need of a cost-effective revolver for daily duty. Their homegrown MR-73 was a fantastic piece of kit, but it was too expensive to issue broadly. Enter Ruger. They partnered with Mandarin to create the Mandarin Special Police, which was essentially a Security 6 frame with French-made barrels and cylinders. This collaboration was so successful that it led to the development of the MR-88, a revolver produced entirely in France. Meanwhile, back in the States, Ruger was busy scaling up the Security 6's design to create the GP100. They used their expertise in investment casting to produce a thicker, heavier frame without skyrocketing production costs. The result was a revolver that could handle the punishing recoil of .357 Magnum rounds without gradually shaking loose over time. Design features and comparisons. First up, let's talk about that triple locking cylinder. I know it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's actually a pretty straightforward and brilliant design choice. Most revolvers lock the cylinder at 1 or 2 points, but the GP100 locks it at 3, the front, rear, and bottom of the frame. Why does that matter? Well, when you're firing something as powerful as a .357 Magnum, you want to make sure that cylinder stays exactly where it's supposed to be. The triple lock keeps everything aligned, which means better accuracy and less wear and tear over time. It's like having 3 deadbolts on your front door instead of just one. You feel a lot safer. Right now, some of you might be thinking, but I've heard that the cylinder on the GP100 has a little wiggle to it. Is that normal? Yep, it is. Unlike some older Colts that locked up tighter than a bank vault, the GP100 is designed with a tiny bit of play. That's intentional. It allows the forcing cone to guide each bullet into the bore, compensating for any minor misalignments. So don't sweat it if your GP100 cylinder isn't rock solid when locked. It's built that way for a reason. Ruger didn't stop there, though. They carried this triple locking system over to other models like the SP101 and the Super Red Hawk, proving that it's a design that works. And speaking of design, let's talk about the frame. The GP100's frame is a solid one-piece chunk of steel with no side plate. That's a big deal. Most revolvers like those from Smith & Wesson have a removable side plate to access the internals. But Ruger said, nah, we're going full tank mode. By eliminating the side plate, they removed a potential weak point where the frame could flex or even fail under heavy use. It's like comparing a unibody car frame to one with bolted-on panels. The unibody is just stronger. Ruger wasn't shy about bragging on this either. They ran ads showing their beefy GP100 next to a Smith & Wesson, basically saying, ours is thicker, so it's better. Smith & Wesson clapped back with a cheeky ad featuring a comically thick hamburger patty saying, thicker doesn't mean better or stronger, it just means bulkier. Touché, Smith & Wesson. But let's be real when it comes to revolvers, especially ones chambered in magnum calibers. A little extra bulk can go a long way in terms of durability. Another cool thing about the GP100's solid frame is how easy it makes maintenance. The trigger assembly pops out as a single unit, which is way less fiddly than removing a side plate and dealing with a bunch of tiny parts. If you're the type who likes to keep your gun squeaky clean, or if you just enjoy tinkering, this is a huge plus. Now let's talk grips. Ruger did something pretty innovative with the GP100's grip system. Instead of a traditional grip frame, they used a grip peg. It's basically a single anchor point that lets you swap out grips super easily. Whether you've got small hands, big hands, or just prefer a different feel, you can find a grip that fits you like a glove. Smith & Wesson offers grip options too, but they're more tied to the shape of the metal frame. Ruger's peg system gives you way more flexibility. Plus, it adds to the overall structural integrity of the revolver since there's more steel where it counts. Comfort and customization are key, but let's not forget about reliability. The GP100 is built to handle magnum cartridges like a champ, and the grip peg is part of that ethos. You get a revolver that's practically bomb-proof, but you can still make mesmerized feel just right in your hand. It's like having a custom-tailored suit of armor, tough as nails, but fits you perfectly. Some shooters love the GP100's rugged, no-nonsense look. They see it as a tool that wears its durability on its sleeve. Others, well, they're not so impressed. I've heard it described as looking like it fell out of a toolbox, and honestly, that's not entirely wrong. But when you're sending a lot of hot rounds, downrange function beats form every time, and the GP100 delivers on function in spades. One area where the GP100 really shines is in its versatility. It's not just a .357 Magnum revolver. Ruger chambers it in a bunch of other calibers too. You can get it in .327 Federal Magnum, which holds 7 rounds instead of the standard 6. That's an extra shot, which can be a nice bonus. There's also a .44 special version that's a 5-shot, keeping the size manageable while giving you a bigger bore. And for those who love plinking or teaching new shooters, there's a .22 LR variant with a 10-round cylinder. This kind of flexibility is rare in the revolver world. Most platforms stick to 1 or 2 calibers, but Ruger saw an opportunity to make the GP100 a jack of all trades. Whether you want a high-capacity rimfire, a versatile .327 for different .32 caliber loads, or the hard-hitting .44 special, there's a GP100 for you. And the best part, all these variants maintain the same rock-solid design that makes the GP100 so respected: real-world performance and law enforcement use. The GP100 is built to handle .357 Magnum rounds like they're nothing, and it does so with aplomb. Whether you're at the range plinking away or in a high-stress situation where every shot counts, this revolver delivers. The triple locking cylinder ensures that each round is perfectly aligned, which translates to consistent accuracy. And thanks to the underlug and the overall heft of the gun recoil is manageable, even with full-house Magnum loads. It's like driving a muscle car. There's power under the hood, but it's smooth and controlled. But don't just take my word for it. Let's talk about some real-world applications. While semi-automatic pistols have become the standard issue for most police forces, the GP100 has carved out a niche in specialized units that demand absolute reliability. Take the Greek EKM counter-terrorist unit, for example. These guys deal with some of the most high-risk scenarios imaginable, and they've been known to carry the GP100. Why? Because in a life-or-death situation, you can't afford a jam or a stovepipe. A revolver like the GP100 just works every time you pull the trigger. Similarly, the Serbian Special Anti-Terrorist Unit has also been associated with the GP100. Again, these are teams that operate in extreme conditions, and they need a sidearm that won't let them down. The GP100's simplicity and ruggedness make it a perfect fit for that role. It might not have the magazine capacity of a modern semi-auto, but what it lacks in quantity, it makes up for in sheer dependability. Closer to home, some local law enforcement departments in Canada used the GP100 long after other agencies had switched to semi-autos. The .357 Magnum or even .38 Special Plus P loads gave officers a reassuring level of stopping power, and the revolver's reliability was a big selling point. In fact, Ruger even produced a special model for the New York Police Department called the GPNY. This variant had a double-action-only trigger to meet NYPD requirements, ensuring a consistent trigger pull on every shot. It was basically the same rugged GP100, just tailored for the Big Apple's finest. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but revolvers are old school. Why would anyone choose one over a semi-auto in this day and age? Fair question. And the answer is simple reliability. In situations where a malfunction could be catastrophic, a revolver is hard to beat. There's no slide to get stuck, no magazine to fail, and no complex feeding mechanisms to worry about. You load it, you shoot it, and it goes bang every time. That's why, even in the age of high-capacity pistols, the GP100 still has a place in certain circles. Another thing I love about the GP100 is how easy it is to maintain. The trigger group pops out as a single unit, making cleaning a breeze. And if you're into tinkering, you can swap out parts or upgrade the grips without breaking a sweat. It's like working on a classic car. Everything is accessible, and you don't need a degree in engineering to figure it out. In conclusion, the Ruger GP100 is more than just a revolver. It's a testament to rugged engineering and practical design. It might not be the flashiest gun on the market, but it's built to last, and it performs when it counts. Whether you're a law enforcement officer, a competitive shooter, or just someone who appreciates a reliable firearm, the GP100 deserves a spot in your collection. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the Ruger GP100. If you've enjoyed this series, don't forget to subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Survival Gear Showcase. We've got plenty more firearm reviews, gear breakdowns, and self-defense tips coming your way. Until next time, stay safe, stay prepared, and keep shooting straight.